All right, this is Micah back in maintenance, standing in front of one of our brand new 579s. This new spec has the Peterbilt SmartAir system in it, so we wanted to shoot a quick how-to video along with some best practices so that you can get the best performance out of this system, reduce your idle, and increase your uptime. So come take a look inside. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you want to make sure that you have this statement of fact in your permit book, and what this does is it gives you a weight exemption for the APU unit. If you do not have this exemption, it will add 601 pounds to your gross weight. If you have this exemption, the system will only add 201 pounds to your gross weight. Make sure that you have this in your permit book. So the first thing that has changed is we now have an auto start stop feature. If you see this switch right here on your dash, what it does is it will automatically start your truck whenever your auxiliary battery power gets below 40%. In order to engage this, you have to have either the key out of the ignition or the key can be in the ignition, but it cannot be turned on. To implement this, you press the top of the auto start stop. You can't just press it, you have to hold it for 3 seconds. You will get a message on your digital dash. You'll hear an audible alarm and it has been engaged. So now we know auto start is on. If you go back over here to the switch, you can see that there is an LED light that's on that's red. That means that your auto start is engaged and the system will automatically start up once batteries get below threshold. With the auto start stop feature, there are some safety criteria that must be met. So the parking brake must be engaged, knob pulled out. The transmission must be in neutral. And you cannot depress the brake pedal or the accelerator pedal. If you do any of those things, the auto start stop feature will automatically shut off while the engine's running once it initiates the startup. So keep that in mind. If you mess with any of your controls or the brake pedal or the accelerator pedal while the auto start stop feature is engaged, it will disengage and you'll have to crank the truck up manually. Some best practices that we've learned from other industry experts on this system is you want to pre-cool your cab. In order to pre-cool the cab, you want to have your AC set to the lowest temperature, your blower motor on the highest position. Make sure that this button right here for recirculating air is pressed in. In order to check that, there will be a LED light that's orange. If it's not pressed in, obviously there will be no LED light. And then make sure that it's blowing, not on defrost mode. To complete the pre-cooling process, make sure to keep your windows and doors shut. If you open either windows or doors, ambient temperature will come in and it will eliminate all the cold air that is trapped inside the sleeper berth. After the pre-cooling is complete, we're going to come back here to the SmartAir control panel. This control panel is very simple to use. It has a power button, an up button, down button, and then an enter. You press the power button, it turns the system on. The system heats and cools, so it can go up to 85 degrees and it can go all the way down to 60. Industry best practice is to keep it between 68 and 72 to not put a lot of strain on the batteries in the system. In order to change from heat to cooling from this auto status, you hit the button to the right and then you can hit the up and down arrows to change from heat to cool. If you hit the button to the right once again, you can control your fan speed, once again with the up and down buttons. And then you can change from Fahrenheit to Celsius on the last screen, which you wouldn't typically do. And that's as easy as the system is to use. One thing that's important to remember is the key has to be in the off position or out of the ignition for this system to work. This system will not work while the truck is running. It'll throw a little wrench on this display panel. So make sure, just like the auto start stop system will not work with the key on, the SmartAir system also will not work with the key on. One more thing, whenever you're done for the night, make sure that you turn this system off prior to getting in your truck and leaving out for the day, because the system will remain on every time the truck is off if you do not turn it off. All right, the last step is to make sure that your sleeper curtains are closed and enjoy your night's sleep. A couple of housekeeping items when you're doing your pre-trip. We've added this battery pack right here, so there's 4 AGM batteries in this case. One thing you want to look for is make sure that this hasn't been tampered with while you're at your truck stops. Another thing, if you can, maybe once every couple weeks, undo the 4 bolts that hold this panel on, take it off and inspect the batteries for corrosion, loose wiring, things like that, just on your freezer. As you can see, we need to be careful when loading our dunnage on the headache rack. We have AC lines that are coming down the back wall of the sleeper. I wanted to show you without the headache rack so you can kind of see how they're routed. So when loading your dunnage, you want to make sure that your dunnage is in the middle of the rack, and you want to make sure that your pipe stakes go on the left side of the rack. That way your pipe stakes aren't moving inside of the rack on the back and hitting these lines. So that covers it for the SmartAir system on our Peterbilt 579 model. If you have any questions, please reach out to me or somebody back in maintenance and we'll get you an answer. Thanks for everything that you do to stay safe out there.